Are we live? Yes! Hello. So many things. I have so many things out here. Look at all this. What is happening? So, hi. We're live. I did it. We're live. So, I'm in the kitchen. Yes, it's Alison Arngrim, and we're doing Who's Going to Do the Cooking? We are Who's Going to Do the Cooking? Oh, I have to hit this button here, and the lighting gets better. There! I love when I hit that button and the lighting gets brighter. I so love it. I have two good lights. So, you see, I have many bowls and contraptions because we are going to make brownies. We are going to make brownies. Now, we can go two different ways with these brownies. These brownies are very freewheeling. These brownies are up for anything. It's a basic recipe, but you can do it with carob powder. Now, don't you just get any carob powder? Because everyone says carob, ew. Because they remember like that 1970s carob where everything was sort of a pale beige and it smelled funny because it was bad carob. No, what you want is Chatfield. Chatfield. Chatfields. Chatfields. Sweeten your life naturally. Chatfields. Premium carob powder. This stuff is amazing. Also, it's naturally sweet. You might even reduce the amount of sugar in the thing you're making because this stuff is so sweet, it's crazy. You can also use Hershey's Cocoa or whatever your favorite chocolate powder is. You can totally go chocolate or you can go carob. Now we're doing easy. Obviously, there are very fancy brownie recipes that involve melting bars of chocolate, the special chocolate. But we're not doing that. It's totally a thing. I've done it, but it requires actual, effort. And why? So what we have is powdered cocoa and powdered this. And you can go either way. If you really only want chocolate, you can have Hershey's chocolate. Or this stuff is honestly very sweet. So, boom. You will need things. I'm moving my light. I feel I'm not bright enough. I know, is that crazy? I'm so bright. And yet, I feel as if I am not bright enough. Now, this thing's crazy. Stay. Yes. Oh, I feel so much better. I don't know why, but I feel better. Okay, so tilty, hi. So, I have many bowls. This is the big bowl for flour. Have you ever seen this thing? This is totally like Little House on the Prairie, a sifter. Get one. Really, if you're doing any baking, go to the store. They still make these. And get a sifter. Sometimes it's the one you go like this and it goes chugga, chugga, chugga. It doesn't matter. Just get a sifter. Nowadays, in our modern age, flour really doesn't need to be sifted. Modern flour, as I have a huge giant tub of it here, does not really need to be sifted. But some things do. You want to sift things together. Like when you do flour and your baking powder and your salt and you're mixing things. The sifter really mixes it so it's very handy. The other thing you want the sifter for is cocoa powder and especially carob powder. To be very honest, they clump. This carob powder is lovely, but it does clump. And if you have a sifter, ta-da! No clumpy. So break that up a little. You want a sifter for things like cocoa powder. It's the handiest thing ever, and they're so cheap. You need dollar store, the supermarket, and it's like la. You'll feel very Little House on the Prairie, and they're really useful. So just get a sifter. I have a giant bottle of vanilla. You don't need this big a bottle of vanilla. It was on sale. You need a little bottle of vanilla, whatever. Vanilla. You need baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. Look at this. Little House on the Prairie, right? Clapper Girl baking powder. So old-fashioned. Very Little House on the Prairie. Salt. Very little. In baking, salt's like a chemical thing. We're very low salt in this house, Bob, with the blood pressure. So, but it's used a little bit of salt. So, salt. You will need, brownies only need 1 egg. It doesn't need a lot of eggs, but you want eggs. I have brown eggs. Yes, 3 cents less a dozen. 3 cents less a dozen. The mercantile, but yeah, it's the brown eggs. I love them. I got brown eggs. Those are the biggies. Now, the big thing is, of course, butter. But for a recipe of brownies, you only need half a stick, quarter cup of butter, half a stick. That's all the butter you need for a recipe of brownies. It's amazing. The other thing is this recipe, because what I'm doing is this recipe for the carob brownies. And the carob brownie recipe involves brown sugar. Now, in fact, It's a recipe originally, like a little book here, for butterscotch brownies, where there's like no chocolate, it's just brown sugar and it's all buttery. But they say do use that and add carob powder. Ding! And then you get carob brownies. You can also, if you don't eat chocolate, you can just make these as bars with just the brown sugar. Delicious. Or you can chocolate. But I like the brown sugar. What is the problem with brown sugar? Nothing, except it clots. It clumps. When you have brown sugar in like a jar, a thing, God forbid the bag, anything, it turns into a big brick, doesn't it? Oh wait, look, my brown sugar is not a brick. Why is my brown sugar still like moving? I bought one of these. I did the thing, I put a wet piece of bread, I put it in a paper bag. They sell them online, on Amazon, everywhere. It was like a couple dollars. It's a piece of terracotta. I guess you could use an old brick. You have some terracotta tile, you could probably use it. It has a hummingbird on it, it's very pretty. You dampen this slightly, not a lot, like get it wet, and you put it in the jar where you keep your brown sugar, and look. Look at the brown sugar. No, it's not hard, not a lump. It's like $2. Okay, Annette just said I keep mine in the fridge. Very smart. But you can get one of these things on Amazon, and you stick it if you have, and if you've already got, say you have an old bag of brown sugar in the cupboard, this happens, and you go, oh, hey, brown sugar, and you pull it out, and you go, this thing is a brick. Wet this thing down, shove it in there, leave it alone for like a day, and it's magic. So, very excited about my magic brown sugar thing. So, what are we doing? Now, I'm almost tempted. Yeah, you know I already got the other pan in here to see. So, to make like 2 pans of brownies, like 1 chocolate, 1 carob, but that would be like complicated. I was like, why? So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to make this, and then you can pick. We're going to do a vote. Do you love this? I'm going to make the brownies. I'm going to start them. And when it comes time to add cocoa powder or carob, I'm going to let you choose. Is that insane? Yes. So we're going to do that. What do we need? Well, we like to do let's measure our dry ingredients first, like they taught me in home economics. So what we need for the dry ingredients, you don't really need very much. That's what I love about this thing. You need, not very, I'm cheating, a half a cup of flour. Really? Seriously? Yes, a half a cup of flour, which is tiny. Now, sometimes, okay, a lot of the time, I double this recipe because it doesn't make very much. Sometimes I like to have, a big pan. And if you have a big pan, I'm using tiny pan. This recipe doesn't take up much space. So I'm using a little cake pan. And if you have the little square brownie pan, but if you have a big pan that a lot of people have along with, you're going to need to double it. You have to get out the calculator. I know math. It's terrible. So I'm just going to use this. So what am I going to do with this flour? I'm going to put it right into the sifter in the bowl. So it'll be sifted because this is genius. So half cup. Easy. We're not even going to get like exact. People do the thing where they use the spatula to measure. Look how easy that was. It's perfectly measured. Look at that. Done. That's the flour. Done. I'm going to put this away. All right. Then what? Oh, look. Baking powder. A teaspoon. A whole teaspoon. But a teaspoon, as you know, isn't really that big. Burr. How much is that? This is a teaspoon. This is baking powder. Ooh. Gotta be careful. This stuff clumps too. 1 teaspoon. There you go. That's a teaspoon of baking powder. Tra-la-la-la-la-la. Then what? Salt. How much salt? Not very much. How much salt? This is a tiny method. A half a teaspoon. A half a teaspoon. Itty tiny baby spoon. That's it. Half a teaspoon. My glass is not on. I know that's half a teaspoon. And I'm not even like filling it all the way. I'm like, salt. It's not like the Ingalls. Remember all the recipes in Little House? Salt, pork, and salt. Yes, we don't use salt like that here because ew. I'm even using unsalted butter because it's too much salt. So not using a lot of salt. So already we have most of that stuff. Now, here's the fun part. So, butter. What is the hard part about butter? You got to get it softened because if it's too hard, you can't mix it with a melt it. This recipe actually says just melt the butter. Just use melted butter. So, you can use a microwave, of course. half a stick of butter. Tra la 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 la, half a stick of butter. I am wrapping my half a stick of butter. I'm throwing my half a stick of butter. Get all the paper off. You don't want paper. Boop. Low heat. Low. Not too high. Not too high. You don't burn things. Not too high. Tra la 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 la. We're gonna need our 1 egg, and we're gonna want vanilla. We're gonna be ready with that. Well, that's so good. But we're gonna melt the butter and add the brown sugar, which is great because it'll be melted, so the brown sugar will break right up. How much brown sugar? How now, brown cow? 1 cup. More brown sugar than there is flour. Yeah. And because of our magic, that means that the other brownies that I made, like a cooking show magic, are done. Whoa, look at that. I can just, look at how easy this is. I can just do this. And look, it's measured. It's magic. Done. Because of my magic terracotta hummingbird that I love so much. I'm going to order like 1 million of them. They're the greatest things in the world. And it was like $2. So, what am I doing with this butter? Melt, melt, I tell you. But I don't want too hot. I don't want it too hot. I don't want it to burn. There's recipes where you make brown butter, where you do kind of brown the butter. Yeah, this is, no, we're not going to do that. So, we're going to take a pot holder. Da, 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 and we are going to gaze upon these and make sure they're okay. Almost. Tra-la-la. Bubbles. I like melting butter. It's fun. Watching the butter turn into a smaller lump of butter. And you go sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. You know, there's like 1 million recipes that start with melted butter. It's really good. You can make white sauce, melted butter. Cream puffs. When you make cream puffs, you make British pastry. Melted butter. Oh, very clever. It all starts with a little bit of melted butter. And now there's all these recipes where you melt butter. I showed you in the homemade mac and cheese how to make a white sauce. Melt the butter, add the flour. So clever, so clever. Stir, stir, stir. Melt, melt, melt. Don't burn, don't burn. Yes, you can totally microwave it. I'm like, this is fun. I like it because then I have this big here pot to start mixing. I'm turning off the heat because here's the problem. You want it hot to melt the butter, but then you got to cool it down a bit because you're going to add an egg. Adding eggs to hot things, very dangerous because then it's hot, and then you wind up with hunks of scrambled egg and you think, and no. So we're letting it like settle down a bit. And now, ta-da! That went ding. Okay. So you don't like cooking here at home. Well, you better start liking it. Yeah, I like cooking. Unlike poor Nellie, I love cooking. So stir, 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 stir. It's stirring. And because the butter's all melty and hot, it's helping that brown sugar to dissolve. Now, here's another crazy thing I'm going to do. Many recipes like this say, oh no, it doesn't need any extra water. It doesn't need any extra moisture. They lie. Many things do need extra moisture. Now, we have some advantage here. I'm also now going to put this in a bowl that's not hot like this. Hot thing. Now we're going to take it out of the hot thing and put it in a not hot thing. And now that gives it a chance to cool off so we can add that egg. But I'm going to cool it down a little because it's time for the vanilla. Is it? Yes, it's time for the vanilla. Not very much. Not 1 teaspoon. It's the same thing we had the baking powder in. Get that baking powder off there. Now this is a very big bottle. And we just need a tiny bit of vanilla. So we have to be very, very careful. Oops, that! Done. You love the noise that made? It was like a sound of a crash. So tiny, tiny bit of vanilla. And that's helping. See, that's helping dissolve that brown sugar. And now you can you use a mixer? Yes, I actually did do this with my fancy mixer the other day, but it seemed excessive. The mixer, it was like using a giant tractor to mow your lawn. There, see, already, look how that's getting all goopy. I, though, cheat. I cheat. Yes, does Nellie Oleson cheat when she cooks? Yes, we do. We cheat because it's brownies, and I like my brownies moist. Don't forget the brownies in the oven. Oh, that's much better. I'm going to turn the oven off for a minute. It needs a little moisture. Am I cheating? That makes it much easier to stir. Oh, make a mess. And get that brown sugar to dissolve. Now we're talking. And it's brownies, and you want them moist. You don't want them dry. So now, let's see. I bet Lisa Puckers are done yet. Oh, that's right. I'm not showing them to you yet. Surprise. Here, we'll put them over here. Ooh, that looks great. Oh, stay. Don't sit here. All right. Now, put that back on. Tra-la-la. Egg. So this is not hot anymore. This is not hot. This is not hot. It's not going to cook your eggs. So it's great. Very Percival-like, breaking the egg with one hand, because I do sort of know what I'm doing. Whee! There we go. Now at this point, it's like, oh hey, perhaps it is time for our favorite implement, the wire whisk. Ooh, we got the nice pink plastic one. Oh yeah, look at that. There you go, see? Look at that. Look how smooth. Look how smooth that is. Look how smooth. And look how dark it is. This is brown sugar. You can add, literally, you could just add this flour mixture now and bake it, and you would get these golden brown, sweet, butterscotchy tasting brownies. You can even add butterscotch chips. Have you ever added butterscotch chips to things? Oh my God, they're so good. So, now what happens? So now we've added the egg. Yeah. So now it's time for the dry ingredients. As you see, a big bowl to make the dry ingredients with. And we have that baking powder in there. So, voting. Do you want me to make them with carob powder or chocolate? It's up to you. Carob powder, chocolate. Carob powder, chocolate. What do you think? People talking about frosting chips. Carob powder, chocolate. Oh, I have a vote for carob powder. I have a vote for chocolate. 2 votes for chocolate. 3 votes for chocolate. I'm seeing 4 votes for chocolate. Chocolate. Okay, I give up. It's chocolate. You win. It's chocolate. Which is great because the other pan I just made, they're carob. So we'll have a comparison test. It'll be fine. Now, in the recipe for the carob, it says 3 tablespoons. Now, there's a recipe for this which says 3/4 of a cup, which is insane, but it's like double this one. So, a quarter is about 5/8. So that would be definitely a 1/4 cup, which is how many tablespoons? It kind of works out almost the same. Do about that much. And let's see. Yeah, about that much. It's almost the same. It's going to be several tablespoons is what we're going to do. So, that looks good. And again, see, even the chocolate has little lumps and bumps in it. Boy, does that smell good. And I'm not worried. This is unsweet. Now, this is totally not sweet. But there's so much brown sugar in these. I'm not worried. Ooh, look how, see, it's all smooth now. It's all smooth. So I can just go, ba-boom. And I'm going to be very careful stirring this because there's all this powder. The temptation is to just start banging away. But now it's like, here we go. Slowly. Oh, look at that. Yes. That's, in fact, it may be time for a spatula. Gotta scrape that pan. Scrape. Get it all in there. Yes. Stir, stir, stir. Get that stuff. Oh, very dark, very dark. And again, I'm like, this seems a little dry, a little thick. Oh, look how that is dissolving that chocolate powder and making it mix. Yes! Look at that. That's great, great, great. Hold that, thank you. Yes, there's nobody there. Okay. Ooh, yes. Mixy, 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 mixy. That's more like it. Look at that. Brownies. We're going to take this a pen. And what do you do? What do you do? You spray it with or you could oil it. You can grease flour. They make Pam baking spray that has flour in it. So all the fancy stuff you would do, super there. Not complicated. And I'm going to put this in the pan. Now, I may have something I want to add. Do we want to add things? Ah, we have so many things to add. Where's chocolate chips? They know I did. Get crazy. Yes. I have things like, I have pecans. You can add nuts. Do you like nuts? I don't really like nuts. But I have pecans. But you know what I have? Chocolate chips. Semi-sweet chocolate baking chips. These are amazing. So I'm going to get crazy and add I just threw a bunch of chocolate chips in. Look at that. Ugh. Now it's very messy. And it's time for the spatula. Spatula. Scraping all of this off because it's so sticky and gooey. There. And see, I'm adjusting the camera here. So you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, see? Scrapey, scrapey, scrapey into ball. It looks like frosting. It's so thick and dark and chocolatey. But I think that's going to work. And there's chocolate chips in it just in case. Just in case there's somehow not enough chocolate here. See? That's why I added a little more water. I added a little bit of water. Because it's pretty thick. It's so thick, I'm going to have to squish it down in the pan. Because this is crazy. But it's working. It's working. Get in there. I actually have to spread this into the pan. Because it's that thick. My carob ones were almost pourable. Stay. Get in there. Squish, squish. Squish, squish, squish. Get in there all the way to the edge. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. There you go. It's like frosting. It's so thick. Stay. Good. Whoa! And now we're going to put it in the oven. Ta-da! Close enough. And I set it for 350 degrees. 350 degrees. Because that is, it says 350 degrees. For 20 to 25 minutes. That's why when that thing went ding, it was just 20 minutes, but it wasn't quite done. So now the other ones, abracadabra, are done. Now, they say you shouldn't because raw eggs, it's all terrible. Oh, great. Oh, this is still hot. I need a pot holder, don't I? I need a thing. That thing. Brownie, so this is the ones I did earlier. And these are carob. But look, they're not terrible. They don't look like the 1970s beige, tasteless carob brownies. It's not a thing. Look at that. Come on, you get out. Hot, crumbling. Look at that. So as you can see, it's not the terrible 1970s, not chocolatey, colorless, tasteless carob. It's quite dark. It looks like a chocolate brownie because it's the Chatfield stuff. Whoa, it smells like a brownie. Aha. Nom, nom, nom. It's so good. This is so good. I thought, this is fantastic. Carob schmerob. This tastes like a chocolate brownie. This tastes like fudge. This is fantastic. And it's springy and light and cakey, but when you chew it, it's chocolate. So as you saw, that wasn't really that hard. You just kind of dump things in. You make the butter, and it's like a one bowl thing. Add this, add this, add this. I just did the powdered stuff into a separate bowl for fun to make it easier. But literally, you can just keep adding things to the one bowl. So it's kind of a one bowl thing. Small pan. And because the measurements are simple, 1/2 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of the vanilla, 1 egg, 1/2 cup of, you can double it. Because when you double the butter, if you say, well, it's only a 1/4 cup of butter, well, 1/2 cup of butter, doubling the recipe is 1 stick. So you use 1 stick, and then you use 1 cup of flour instead of you use, 2 cups of brown sugar. You just double it. Times 2. Get out the calculator, do everything times 2, and you get this huge mass of brownies for a bigger pan. Portable. That was really good. Yeah, Nellie couldn't make these. So, we'll have chocolate ones later, probably in time for the reading. And we'll compare and see how they are. Alrighty then. I will see you guys later at 1:30. We'll be reading the Little House in the Ozarks, those newspaper articles, and I'll be making more stuff. So we did brownies today. I promised you a quiche. I've never done my quiche for you, and no crust. You know how they think, oh, we have to have a crust, and we have it. The crust. It's eggs and stuff you want to put in your eggs. Quiche is like really easy, and it's very impressive. Ooh, I made a quiche. It's like easiest thing in the world to make. So we'll probably make quiche soon, and a lemon meringue pie. Lemon meringue pie is hard. Lemon meringue pie, because there's meringue. Everything else but lemon meringue pie is really easy, but lemon meringue is hard. But I will show you, and it'll be fine, and we'll make lemon meringue pie. But we'll probably do quiche next week. I don't know. But this was brownies, and there you go. Both chocolate and carob. And I let you vote, and we picked chocolate. So I will see you guys later. Thank you. And who's going to do the cooking? Maybe you.